This song I wrote shortly after 9/11. Everybody was expressing themselves through music. Alan Jackson with "Where Were You?", "The World Stopped Turning."
Great song.
Even Toby Keith, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. All these wonderful songs are coming out, and I thought I need to write one. So I sat down and I started figuring out how I wanted to structure the song to go. And it went an entirely different route than I had originally planned. The first verse talks about a soldier who's going off to war. Of course, he's going to fight in Iraq. The second verse talks about a mother who's passed away. Then there was a third verse that, when I wrote the song, I realized the song was getting way too long. So I completely threw that verse away and never sang it again. I sang it that way without that verse for probably about 2.5 years. It was a Sunday morning. I got a phone call from my mother. I'll never forget it. Johnny, I'll never forget that. But it was a Sunday morning, and my mom called. And she said, "What are you doing today?" I said, "I have no plan." She said, "I need you to come by the house." I said, "Okay." She said, "It's not pressing, it's not important, but I want you to come by the house today." We only lived about 3 miles away, so I just went out and jumped in the truck and drove over there. And I walked to the door, and Mom said, "Sit down." I thought, what do you got new? I figured somebody died in the family, or, whatever. And I sat down at the kitchen table with my mother, and in her hand, she's holding this pad of paper. And she said, "I had a dream about your song last night, Heaven." I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "There's an entire verse missing from your song." And she slid this piece of paper in front of me. And it's actually, I believe, still in my guitar case to this day. It's the missing verse that I had written, word for word, and threw away. My mother dreamed the song, got up in the middle of the night and wrote that verse out. That's what she could remember. And it was pretty much word for word. So
that's a good story.
I figured it was the good Lord's way of telling me to put that verse back into the song. This takes a little different route. It's a recitation through the verses. So it's kind of like a Red Sylvain type of thing. But it's one that I'm very proud of. And my entire family has been on me to cut it, so this will be on the next album. This is just simply called Heaven. Well, the war had just begun, and he was called away from the family that he loved and cherished to this day. Far across the sea, he sat dreaming of a place that he had left behind, and of her smiling face. Then suddenly it happened. Somebody near him screamed. He knew it was the end. He'd never see her again. So he grabbed her picture and held it close to his heart. He then said a prayer. She'll know he'll always be there.
Watching down over loved ones and the girl that he still loves. Yes, he's up in heaven. Well, he's up there with Lord, singing with the angels, smiling forevermore.
Mother holds her child close to her breast. She kisses him on the forehead while she breathes her final breath. But just before she goes, while she says a little prayer, God will watch and keep him safe, and let him know she'll always be there.
Now she's up in heaven. Well, she's up there with the Lord, watching down over her loved ones and the boy that she adored. She's smiling down while she watches her loved one grow. Yes, she's up in heaven to be an angel forevermore.
Mother rocks her child in the stillness of the night. The doctor said that he's done all he can. It's just a matter of time. The mother begins to weep while his soul takes wings to fly. And he flies away to heaven just to sit by Jesus' side.
Now he's up in heaven. Well, he's up there with the Lord, holding on to Jesus as they walk on heaven's shore. Yes, he's up in heaven, sitting right next to God's throne. Yes, he's up in heaven, and he's in pain no more. Yes, they're up in heaven, sitting right next to God's throne. Yes, they're up in heaven, and you know they all belong.